morning. I have your worship.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to our early 9 o'clock council meeting, special meeting of council today, where we'll have our geosands report. We'll call this meeting to order, and I'll look to Councillor White for the land acknowledgement. Councillor White.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. The town of Wasaga Beach acknowledges that it is located upon the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people of the Three Fires Confederacy. We also acknowledge that the people of the Wyandot Nation also inhabited these lands. We acknowledge that these nations were sovereign nations existing before the arrival of settlers. We respect the spiritual interconnection between these nations and the land and to the water. We also acknowledge that the waterways near us have a long history predating European arrival. Since time immemorial, waterways were the lifeblood of the indigenous people by trade and hunting routes. We are dedicated to inclusivity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in our future stewardship of the land and the longest freshwater beach in the world. In the spirit of reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity of learning to be sustainable caretakers of the land and the waterways for all future generations.
Thank you, Magwitch, Councillor, and we'll now move on to item number 2, which is disclosure of pecuniary interest. I have none before me at this time. If at some point throughout the meeting you feel you have a pecuniary interest, please let me know. I'll just make a quick note that Deputy Mayor Snell will be joining us. He's just going to be a couple of minutes behind. Item number 3 is the adoption of the agenda with a recommended motion that the contents of the agenda of June 25th, 2026 be approved as circulated. Any questions or comments on the agenda? Seeing none, a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Ego, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That carries. Item number 4 is presentations. We have Geosands Inc. Annual General Meeting 2025 Year-End in Review. And we have Mr. Brandon Weiss here, CEO of Wasaga Distribution Inc., and Mr. Peter Prager, Geosands Chair, and Ms. Ashley Karamatic, Manager of Finance and Regulatory at WDI. And they are here in attendance today to present Council with the Geosands 2025 Year-End Report and audited financial statements. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship, and members of Council. Good morning to everybody. Have we got the slides up there? Thank you. Go on the next one. Go on the next slide. Okay. First, I'll just go through the agenda. Mayor Smith has already introduced the chairperson and the leadership team. It's a very straightforward agenda that we have. We're going to take a look at the strategic outlook and operational update. I'm going to make a presentation of the consolidated audited financial statements, and we're going to have the question and answer towards the end. Okay, so it's fairly straightforward. Thank you. I'm pleased to present our annual update as part of our AGM. As the headline you see here really sums up our core focus, partnering for Wasaga's bright future. Everything I will discuss today follows from this goal, how we will drive growth through deep collaboration. However, just before we start getting into these slides, I want to be very clear about one thing. While we talk about the future as an exciting new growth, we never lose sight of the fundamentals. The collaboration we are highlighting today is built on a rock-solid foundation of daily maintenance and system reliability. We cannot build a bright future for Wasaga Beach tomorrow if we do not keep the lights on and the grid resilient today. We're equally committed to maintaining our existing infrastructure. For us, innovation and expansion will never replace our core mandate, ensuring that the everyday reliability for safety that our current residents and businesses depend on. We take a look at the first slide there on the left-hand side, the first column on the left. I'm pleased to say that our financial health is paramount. I'm pleased to report that our utility remains in a robust financial position. The financial resilience is what gives us solid financial grounding necessary to serve as a reliable partner in supporting Wasaga's continued growth. But why does that matter? It matters because a financial strong utility is a better position to be an active partner in the community we serve, ensuring we can continue to invest in a reliable service and support future growth. In this way, we remain strategically aligned with the town's growth goals. We look at the bottom left column there, supporting Destination Wasaga. When you speak about our vision, your vision for Destination Wasaga, our role is clear. We are focused on grid readiness and ensuring that we are prepared for growth as it materializes. We will continue to make the investments required to support this growth. We understand that powering a vibrant community, new developments, and businesses isn't just about connecting wires. It's about building the infrastructure that makes this vision real. We are investing in and renewing distribution infrastructure through station upgrades, a new station development, and targeted pole line rebuilds to improve reliability and support growth. We are deploying smart grid technologies, such as remote control and monitoring devices, to improve visibility of the systems and respond more quickly to outages. We are expanding systems capacity through long-term planning and targeted upgrades to ensure the network can safely accommodate the future residential and commercial demands. We are improving operational efficiency through digital tools, including workflow automation, to enhance asset management, data quality, and work planning across the organization. If we look at the right column there, collaborative partnership with the town. This work doesn't happen in a vacuum. The deep collaborative partnership we have with the town is essential. We have aligned our utility planning with the town's own planning goals. This ensures that when major infrastructure projects are executed, they are done efficiently with a shared vision to maximize long-term benefits to the entire community. Look at the bottom right-hand column. Finally, all this is made possible with the people across our organization who bring focus, discipline, and pride to delivering safe and reliable services every day. I must extend my deepest gratitude to our entire staff, from the office team to the crews in the field. The dedication to safety, professionalism, and community service is what powers our success. We remain committed to service excellence, powering the bright future of our community alongside our partners and our team. We are excited about all the development activities that are planned and are taking place. We are here to keep the lights on and the power dependable. As Wasaga Beach grows, we will make sure our grid is ready for the future, working side by side with the town and our great team. Next slide, please, Brandon. Over the past 3 years, the utility has continued to demonstrate strong financial performance. In 2025, we reported a net income of $1.3 million, reflecting stable operations. In April, the Board of Directors approved a dividend to the town of $600,000 to paid directly to the town of Wasaga Beach, reinforcing the utility's role in supporting the municipality while maintaining financial prudence. Overall, we remain in a strong financial position, balancing today's operational requirements with the need to ensure long-term sustainability. And we'll now turn it over to Brandon to speak about the operating environment and the strategic direction moving forward. Brandon?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Your Worship and members of Council. I'm going to build on my presentation today, build on what the Chair had spoke to and the themes he had kind of alluded to just in his presentation. I did want to start my presentation off really discussing how we are meeting the challenges of a changing environment. And I think the slogan on the slide really does speak to this. We are preparing today for the energy needs of tomorrow. Wasaga Beach continues to grow as a destination community. Geosands Inc. and its subsidiaries are operating in an evolving environment shaped by population growth, load growth, and changing customer expectations. Population is expected to double in Wasaga Beach in the next 25 years, and this is placing pressure on the distribution system. The growth trajectory introduces a range of planning and operational risk, including timing uncertainty in development, as well as capacity limitations. At the same time, Council's long-term vision for Wasaga Beach has been a key enabler of growth. So in response, we are advancing a long-term system modernization planning approach that includes targeted investments in infrastructure, smart grid technologies, automation, and digital enablement tools. Affordability remains central. We know there's rising sector cost and increasing equity requirements, and this requires a continued focus on operational efficiency while ensuring we are maintaining reliability and service quality. Customers increasingly expect enhanced communication and enhanced service, requiring a careful balance between service requirements and affordability. And within the broader landscape, which also includes evolving regulatory requirements, Geoscience remains focused on delivering safe, reliable, and customer-focused service. The destination Wasaga and beachfront area remains a key focus, given its long-standing role as an economic driver for Wasaga Beach. Council's planning and development decisions have been instrumental in enabling growth, and our approach will continue to reflect the importance of supporting community and commercial expansion in areas positioned to generate future economic activity. The external environment directly informs our strategic plan. In January of this year, the Geoscience Board of Directors approved the 2026 to 2028 strategic plan, and this established a 3-year direction for the organization and its subsidiaries. Our vision remains focused on being a growth and community-focused organization, recognized for excellence in operational performance and customer service within the Ontario electricity sector. Our strategy is designed to manage an evolving environment, ensuring we are maintaining reliability and financial sustainability. And to deliver on our vision and to support our strategic plan, we have established 4 strategic priorities. And I wanted to bring those forward for Council's awareness today. The first is about future-ready growth, and this is going to focus on ensuring the organization is well-positioned to meet evolving energy demands, emerging technologies, grid modernization, and future-ready capacity needs. And this includes strengthening our planning process, maintaining regulatory compliance, and ensuring the distribution system can support continued population growth and economic development. We also want to prioritize our customer and the community. So this reinforces our commitment to remaining adaptable, community-focused, and emphasizing on delivering exceptional customer service to improve reliability and responsiveness and the overall customer experience. It also includes strengthening our collaboration locally using customer feedback to continuously improve. And we can't do this without empowering our people and our culture, which is about building a skilled, adaptable, and engaged workforce. And the focus here is helping ensuring our teams are equipped for the future, supported in developing digital capabilities, and encouraged to embrace innovation and continuous improvement. And lastly, we want to make sure we're driving sustainable value to the corporation, and this is focused on strengthening our long-term financial and operational resiliency, and includes continued execution of the investment plans, developing long-term investment strategies, aligning those with our near and long-term needs, and also ensuring we have ongoing financial sustainability. This would also include exploring opportunities to enhance value creation and leveraging the service company model to improve our operational performance. And building on our strategic priorities, we have developed a 2026 to 2028 strategic roadmap, and this translates our strategy into practical actions to guide the execution over the next 3 years. The roadmap is aligned with our 2026 to 2028 business plan and provides the steps required to execute on the strategy in a disciplined and measurable way. Annual updates will be provided to the town to report on progress, maintain transparency, and ensure continued alignment. It's also important to recognize that 2026 will be a foundational year for us. Much of the work will focus on establishing and enabling conditions for success, strengthening our systems, frameworks, and capabilities across the organization. In 2026, we'll advance a number of operational priorities. So this would include cybersecurity readiness, business continuity planning, as well as regulatory alignment, and ensuring we are reinforcing employee wellness. And as we move into 2027 and 2028, the plan will shift from the foundational work to implementation, optimization, and continuous improvement, allowing us to realize the benefits of the investments and changes made in the earlier phases of the strategy. Collectively, our operating environment, the 2026 to 2028 strategic plan, and supporting roadmap provide a disciplined foundation for navigating growth, managing our risk, and guiding investment decisions under the current environment. And this approach supports and considers economic growth within Wasaga Beach, allows us to be agile to evolving conditions, while ensuring we continue to deliver safe, reliable, and affordable services to our customers. Ultimately, this will move us towards realizing on our vision. I do want to talk a little bit about our operational outage statistics in 2025. And I want to highlight some of those statistics provide insight into how our system has performed over the past year. In 2025, we experienced an increase in the average duration of power outages compared to previous years. Total outage duration rose to 11.77 hours per customer. 8 of those hours were specifically related to the March 30th, 2025 ice storm that we experienced in Simcoe County. With that event, and when we exclude other major events that occurred within the territory, our average outage duration decreased to 0.92 hours. And that number provides a much clearer indication of our day-to-day and overall system performance, and is aligned with what we target of 1.32 hours per year. In terms of frequency, customers experienced a slight improvement from 2024 with an average of 3 outages compared to 3.06 in prior years, and this remains slightly above our historical trends. Overall, though, while 2025 was challenging due to the extreme weather events, it continues to reinforce the importance of ongoing investment in grid modernization, grid resiliency, system maintenance, as well as our long-term reliability improvements. In 2025, we continue to perform strongly across key benchmarking indicators. Customer satisfaction increased to 85%, and this was up from 81% from the prior survey, and this reflects continued confidence in our service and our responsiveness. Our rates remain competitive, with residential and commercial service charges among the lowest in the province, and this demonstrates our ongoing commitment to responsible cost management. From a financial performance perspective, Wasaga Distribution achieved a regulated return on equity of 9.55% in 2025, exceeding our target return on equity of 9.21%, although slightly decreasing from 10.06% in 2024. Although this performance does strengthen our ability to reinvest in the system and support our community needs. And taken together, these results demonstrate a utility that continues to perform at a high level, delivering efficient services, strong customer satisfaction, and solid financial stewardship. Before concluding, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Mayor Smith and members of council and town staff for their continued support, collaboration, and shared commitment. Their vision and leadership have helped create conditions that are enabling growth for our community and for Geosense Inc. and its subsidiaries. I also want to thank the customers and the broader community for their trust they place in us, and we recognize the important role we play in powering homes, businesses, and the continued growth in Wasaga Beach. And we remain committed to delivering safe and reliable service. And as well, I would like to thank our employees. Their professionalism, dedication, and commitment to serving the community each and every day are the foundation of our success. And I'm proud of what the team has accomplished and grateful for the continued efforts as we prepare for the future. We look forward to continuing to serve and grow alongside the community for many years to come. So I'll now pass this on to Ashley to speak to the financial performance and present the 2025 Geosense audited financial statements.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Good morning, Mayor Smith and members of council. So Geosense and its subsidiaries are a locally owned distribution company providing services to nearly 16,000 residential and commercial customers. So Wasaga Beach is predominantly a residential community with approximately 94% of our customer base in the residential class. This also represents about 80% of our distribution revenues. The regulated business accounts for approximately 97% of total capital assets, including poles, wires, and transformers. Council has been provided with Geosense 2025 consolidated audited financial statements. The consolidated financial statements reflect the combined results of WDI and WRSI and are presented in accordance with international financial reporting standards. So overall, 2025 was another strong year for Geosands. The company received an unqualified audit opinion and a clean management letter from KPMG. So Geosands reported approximately $1.3 million in comprehensive income in 2025, reflecting continued stable operations. This is lower than the $2 million reported in 2024, which is largely a result of a prior year adjustment that was one-time in nature and did not reoccur in 2025. So a couple of variances I'd like to highlight. So operating expenses, excluding the cost of power, were lower overall, mainly due to the reduction in construction activity in 2025. General and administrative costs and billing and collecting costs increased modestly year over year, reflecting normal inflationary and operating pressures, including labor, office supplies, collections, and bad debt-related costs. Cash decreased from approximately $4.5 million to $3.4 million, primarily because the company continued to invest in capital assets while also managing normal working capital timing differences. The company continued to invest in its infrastructure with approximately $3 million invested in utility assets during 2025 and ended the year in a strong financial position with healthy cash reserves and manageable debt levels. Shareholder equity increased from approximately $20.4 million to $21.2 million, reflecting continued retained earnings growth. Overall, the 2025 results demonstrated stable operations, continued investment in infrastructure, and a solid financial foundation going forward. So lastly, Geosands has exercised its option to extend the engagement of KPMG for an additional one-year term. The shareholder is requested to approve the reappointment of KPMG as auditor for the 2026 fiscal year. With that, I will now turn it back over to Peter to open the floor for questions and discussion.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Brandon. And Your Worship, we'll be happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and Brandon, and to Ashley. Questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Belanger?
Yes, through the mayor, just a couple questions. I'm sure it was detailed in the report, but so it's publicly. We did, I think, because of regulatory reasons, we had to lower the interest rate on our loan. And I'm just wondering what the interest was paid on the loan for 2025.
Brandon?
Through you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor Belanger, maybe Ashley can pull that up. I don't have that readily available, but in 2024, we did submit an application through a rate application, and the loan interest did increase at that point in time. So I think it was 3.78%, and it's gone up to, I think it's 4.5, just slightly above 4.5% today.
Oh, okay, so maybe it was a couple of years ago. I know we did lower it one year, but that's fine.
Yeah, it would have lowered in 2016 down to the 3.79%, give or take a few points.
Then just one more question, and that's on our outages. My understanding is there was at least one outage that was due to a Hydro One mainline issue. Like, is that incorporated into our calculations, or is it just based when the problem is on our immediate local grid?
Yeah, so the non-adjusted number, so in the slide on the outages, I reported that we had approximately 11 hours of total outage experienced per customer in 2025. That number would include that would include Hydro One outages as well. So that would be the total overall experienced time of outages by all customers. When we do look at the adjusted number, that's when we do exclude the loss of supply. And the reason for that is we don't have any control over when we do lose lose supply from Hydro One. So we want to make sure when we are assessing our own system performance, we only look at what we are able to control and manage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Belanger. Any other questions or comments from members of council? Deputy Mayor Snell?
Excuse me. Thank you, Your Worship. First of all, I commend great, reliable service. You know, that is one thing that the residents here in Wasaga Beach, they take great pride in owning our utility and just the outstanding service versus those that receive the more common provider. I also want to applaud your great communications. I see that increasing significantly when there is an outage or an incident, and I think residents really appreciate that, to just know what is coming down the pipe and when they can expect service to resume. And I think that that's going to be even more important, as you mentioned, with the extreme weather system patterns that are going to naturally increase with climate change. It's great that you're preparing in advance for that and strengthening not only the communications, but the reliability and sustainability of the service. And I see that, and we've seen with other municipalities, through poor planning, frankly, you know, water and wastewater issues that all of a sudden then become a destabilizing position, not only in potential growth, but also to just being able to provide for the current residents. So as you mentioned, changes in the future and the growth in Wasaga Beach, what do you see, two questions, what do you see as some of the more significant investments that you see coming down the pipeline to support that growth? And also, what do you see changing in the technology? As everything's changing in nanosecond timing, what do you see as, just to educate, some of the changing technology in the world of electricity, please?
It's a loaded question. To answer the first one, so from an investment perspective, we are a growing utility, so we have a lot of potential development. We see a lot of commercial activity. We also have assets that are aging at the same time. So there's going to be different layers and levels of investments we're going to need to make. First would be really to address capacity. We're going to have to address making sure we have the capacity that's coming into Wasaga Beach, as well as being able to support electrification. So that would include from us looking at how we're getting supplied from Hydro One, all the way down to looking at individual substations, and potentially, depending on how we see electrification, it could be upgrades locally to individual transformers within subdivisions as well. So you could see those type of investments being made in the future, depending on the level of load growth that we will or potentially could experience. We also, just upgrading our infrastructure will also be an area that we'll have to focus on from an investment perspective. We've had a lot of development in Wasaga Beach from the 80s to the 90s, and we're going to have to start looking at how we can renew a lot of those assets. So we've been very proactive in the last few years looking at our overhead plant, our overhead system, and making sure we're making the investments needed to get our overhead system in an appropriate level of relatively, it is in good shape, but we're making sure we're making the replacements to make sure that as we're looking at seeing other types of investments and investment needs come on, we can shift focus from that overhead system and more focus on our underground and look at some of those capacity type of investments as well. We'll be working with developers we'll be working with developers in the town and seeing what type of investments are needed to support economic growth as well in the community, as well as other types of growth and investment needs as we are seeing that increase in activity pickup as well. With respect to technology, and that's an interesting thought. So because we're going to see growth in load growth, we know there's going to be opportunities there to bring on technologies and look for other solutions beyond what would be normally looked upon as poles and wires. So you can look at storage solutions. We can see solar and type of generation type of facilities pick up in the area as well, and they can offset some of those physical asset investments. So from our perspective, when we're looking at the utility side, it's really about integrating our systems with the technologies that potentially could come online, being able to have an ability that can talk to those systems, but also potentially look at how we can benefit and drive value from those type of systems that would be either owned internally or they can be owned from third parties as well. So there's a lot of change happening. It's about building the systems, making sure we have the visibility, make sure we can talk to the communication, working collaboration between the ISO, Hydro One, and other utilities as well, and partners, as well as the town in this, and ensuring we have, we're able to manage the change that we do foresee. We know technology is going to pick up. We know commercially these type of investments will eventually make sense. Electrification, if you start seeing a lot more EVs, it's how do you integrate those EVs into your household and utilize that storage capacity to ensure some potential off cost savings for the homeowner as well. So I hope that answers your question. There's a lot coming down the pipeline. There's a lot of technology innovation coming down. AI is also picking up. How do we bring and enable AI capabilities into the organization? There's a lot of tools there that we don't even know even exist, and once they become commercially available and affordable, we'll be looking at those potential opportunities as well.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, it's great that you're looking at that innovation because there is so much change. Like when you look at solar, you know, when it first came out, it's morphed and evolved and has become much more profitable, I would say. You know, like it's gotten smarter. I know from the county's perspective, I sit on affordable housing, and we just recently had a report come forward where they're looking at all of their assets, all of their buildings, long-term care, every new build, at how we can be able to store power. Property in particular, I think the amount was $125,000 in 1 year of savings, and not where they're selling it, like banking and selling it, but just using it during the high peak times, being able to store it, and I think, and use it during high peak times. So I'm really happy to hear that your organization is continuing to look at harnessing innovation and looking at the future. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Through your worship, I would like just to add 2 points. I think we have a very good working relationship with the town from a planning standpoint, so nothing of us a surprise, as we hope. The other point I'd like to make is that with respect to technology, we won't be on the bleeding edge, but we will be keeping up with what takes place, and we will look at innovation, but we're not going to be on the bleeding edge. It's too much of a risk associated with being advanced like that, but we do have staff and everybody working with all the other organizations to find out exactly what is taking place in the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, other questions or comments? Councillor Timms.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the CEO, Brandon. I'm aware that there's a lot of concern in the residential community that there's not enough to do the beachfront development. Would you be able to speak to that, Brandon?
Through you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor Timms, we are working with developers. We've been collaborating with the town. We're looking at the town's vision at beachfront. So we're actively aware that there's a vision at the beachfront, and we know that there is going to be required. There's a lot of power required. It's a challenge for my team. We know, but we feel confident that, you know, the Hydro One and working with the developers, we feel that we're coming towards that will ensure that we'll be able to support the needs of the beachfront. Right now, it's making sure that the immediate needs are being addressed. So working through the immediate needs and support those future needs as well. So there's power required there. These are large developments, flagship hotel, and it's that economic driver for that area. And if that goes, there's going to be development there, and we're making sure we're considering that and looking at how we can get that area supported as best as possible. So.
Thank you very much, and that's reassuring, and I think it's good for people to understand that there's a lot of thought and consideration into everything that's happening, and it's all about smart development. So that's, again, very reassuring, and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I do have a few, Mr. Chair. Thank you, CAO and Ashley as well. Let me start off by saying I cannot praise Brandon and his team, Ashley and Roy and Nanette, and you know, for the great leadership over there from a management perspective, and of course to our office staff and to the line staff that are working every day to make sure customers are well looked after. And I would say that our office staff and our linemen and women are second to none, and I think that shows in the information that you provided today. 85% positive rate. Utilities get that kind of mark from the people they serve. That's for sure. I think it's important to point out a few things, and that is, you know, you'd mentioned that 94% of our power that we sell and services we provide is residential, and that's exactly in line with what we talk about at council and with the public about our tax base. 94 cents. It's important, and I think it's also important for the utility. I think very important to point out, and Councillor Timms, you raised an excellent point, that, you know, there is some concern out in the community. Whenever I hear there's some concern out in the community, always the first thing that comes to my mind is, well, how many is some concern? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? And it's usually the people who make the most noise that give us our thought processes and how things happen or don't happen. But here's what I think is important, and Mr. Chair, you know, step in if you wish at any time. These things don't happen overnight, and they don't happen without planning. And what needs to be realized is that hydro distribution, unlike most other companies, is very, very highly regulated. And, you know, I've heard from a couple of residents who said, you know, why don't we just build a grid that is going to be good for the next 30 years? And the reason's pretty simple. The Ontario Energy Board, who regulates distribution companies, does not like in any way, shape, or form what they refer to as stranded assets. And they do not want utilities building assets today for 15 years down the road. They want us building assets today practically for what happened yesterday, because they want to ensure that the customer is not being overburdened. And although it's a great thought process, I would argue that it doesn't work very well when you're in the business and you're trying to be prepared and make sure good things are happening. But I have all the confidence in the world in all three of the boards, both Geosans, WDI, and WRSI, and their abilities. We have three boards here that I feel very strong and very proud that they are knowledge-based boards. These are folks sitting on these boards who have very different mindsets in many ways, but skill sets that is working very, very well. And put that in line with you know, a CEO who's been around quite some time, knowledge, and a leadership team as well that has great knowledge, and you've got the perfect storm, if you will, to make sure that good things are happening. And so, you know, the town of Wasaga Beach meets with Brandon and his team on a regular basis right now with respect to our future growth. I'm confident in the team. I'm confident in the municipality that we'll make sure that whenever services are required, they'll be there. We won't be lagging behind. And you know, the board and Chair Prager have assured us that that is the case, and I know that the team is working hard. I want to make sure that there's not a misunderstanding or a misnomer out there, if you will, or misinformation that we currently don't have enough power. We have all the power we need. What we do know is we're going to need more. And that's why there's planning happening, and strategic planning, so we don't have stranded assets and we don't have, millions and millions of dollars going in the ground or overhead that's not required right now. And the other thing important to note is that all of these requirements and changes are not just because of the beachfront. We have significant development happening throughout town, in the East End, in the far West End, and a lot of new homes on the books, and I'm confident when the market picks up, we will see that start to move, and we need to make sure that we're prepared there as well. And again, all the confidence in the world in Brandon and the team that they're going to ensure that that is there and it happens. Having said that, 16,000 customers today. We talk often at the boards that we could be upwards of 25,000 customers in a short time, and we need to be prepared for that. Before I go to our motion, any further comments from any of you three folks? Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think you couldn't have said it any better. The environment is a very regulated environment, and we have to navigate through that environment. And to the point about stranded assets, you can't make investments and find out that all of a sudden nobody uses it and you can't recover your revenue. I think the good point to make is that we do work closely with everybody. We do understand what is taking place with the development. We will provide the power needed to give to whatever is needed. It's just a question of how we do it. And as Brendan talked about it, there are some challenges, but we will step up to those challenges and we will make it happen. So I thank you for those words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'll just end with respect to power outages. And, this last year, I've heard from some residents, I don't know why it is, but when the power goes out, people call me. And it's, why don't they call you, Brandon? But I'm sure they do. But, and I tell people all the time, because, when people call, it's usually because they're upset, the turkey's in the oven and there's now no power, or whatever the case may be. But, just keep in mind, folks, that, WDI is a business. And if you don't have power, we're not making money. So we don't plan on people not having power. We want to make sure you have all the juice you possibly need, because that's how we make money. And making money is what's going to make, this future growth succeed. So the proof in the pudding is that when you do see a power outage in Wasaga Beach, it's not normally very long before our crews are out there in no matter what the weather is, and it's often ugly. And the power is back on. And I get praise from community members all the time about WDI and the staff, and how professional they are and how hard they work, and how they ensure that our reliability in this community is as strong as it is. So again, thank you, Brandon, to you and the team for doing that. All right, we do have a long recommended motion that the shareholder receive the presentation titled 2026 Annual General Meeting Presentation to the Special Council Meeting of Geosands Inc. AGM of June 25th, 2026 be received for information, and that the shareholders approve the audited 2025 consolidated financial statements of Geosands Inc., and that KPMG LLP be reappointed as auditor for Geosands Inc. and its subsidiaries for the 2026 fiscal year, and that the shareholder confirm the following Geosands Inc. board appointments: Brian Smith, Peter Prager, Keith McAllister, Robin Plum, and Jeffrey Harper. And that the shareholders confirm the following Wasaga Distribution Inc. board appointments: Brian Smith, John Wersma, Ron Stevens, Raymond Trask, and Gerald White. And that the shareholder confirm the following Wasaga Resource Services Inc. board appointments: Brian Smith, Bruce Young, Paul Trace, Charlie Adams, and Dino DeZitis. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this? Moved by Councillor Tim, seconded by Deputy Mayor Snell. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great day. We'll now move on to deputations. We have no deputations in the special meeting today. Item number 6 is our bylaws, with a recommended motion that the following bylaw be received and to be deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed 2026-48. Mover and a seconder for the bylaw, please. Councillor White and somebody, there we go, Deputy Mayor Snell. All in favor? That motion carries. And we'll adjourn this meeting and be back to our regular council meeting in 15 minutes.